Hello, hello, hello. I am Matt Williamson. How's it going? Going great here. I am settled back in from my journey to Florida. Owners meeting was very cool. Got some good information, got a little sun, all that good stuff. And I apologize for not being able to get you to one yesterday. I just was traveling all day. Got up at 5 and didn't get home till late. Today's pod, I'm going to focus on one prospect, an interesting one to me, and that's Matthew Golden, wide receiver, University of Texas. I'm recording this on Thursday evening. He was in town today for a 30 visit. And trust me, I want the Steelers to start the draft with a defensive lineman, a defensive tackle. But I adore this player. He's clearly my wide receiver one. We'll talk about him first and how he can fit in after. But I'm going to tease you a little bit because he's really good. First off, combine numbers. He's 5'11", 191. Fine arm length, good hand size. Ran a 4.29, which was clearly best amongst all wide receivers. A great 10-yard split, 1.49. Now, I will say, if you're watching the combine, he ran that 4.29, had a huge smile on his face, as he should, and then said, I'm good. I'm not putting anything else on tape. I think he might have been a little shocked that he broke 4.3. And I say that because you watch his tape, and he's fast. But he's not blow your doors off fast. He had a nice run. And yes, he's really fast. But if you look at the Texas receivers his last 2 years, he's not as fast as Isaiah Bond, who didn't run as well, but is really fast on tape. Skinnier, though, and he's a one-dimensional dude. He's not as fast as Xavier Worthy, the Chiefs' first-round pick. I'm talking about in pads on game day Saturday for the Longhorns. But yeah, he can really scoot. But what I love, but I think there's a misconception now at the combine is, oh man, this guy just blows your doors off. He's a one-trick pony. He's Deshaun Jackson, Ted Ginn. No, not at all. And I throw this name out there only because I want you to think stylistically. This is who I compares to. I'm not saying he's as good. That's why comparisons and comps get people all messed up. But he's a lot more Antonio Brown than he is Teddy Ginn or Mike Wallace. You know what I mean? His stop-start, his aggressive nature through his route. He plays bigger than he is. His out routes, the way he snaps things off, his hips, his ability to sink, and his ability to stop-start. I mean, big thing with receivers isn't how fast you can run, but how fast you can stop. If I can stop on a dime, that corner isn't the ball comes out, Rodgers releases it, boom, hits Golden, first down. Move the chains. How many times did Ben and AB do that? I just did a podcast with Chris, and I urge you to check that out, Southside Beat. We've been doing that once a week, another podcast you'd like. And he mentioned Santonio Holmes. That's a kind of a one-for-one comparison. I mean, none of these guys are AB. But that's the type of receiver we're talking about here. So he's very enticing to me as a football player. We'll talk about this, the fit and why you'd worry about him here in a minute. But the fact that he was one of their 30 visits, and really of the receivers they've talked to, he's the only one that's a first-round pick. Like, if you're going to get Golden, you're taking him at 21, if he's even still there. And by no means would I trade up for a wide receiver. But if he's there at 21, that's what they're talking about here. Because they met with him at the Combine. They went to Texas Pro Day, as everybody did. And he was in for a visit today. Like, that's a lot of interest in this player. And he's a heck of a lot different than the two top receivers they have. He's very good. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for betting on all the madness. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. With the largest selection of odds on everything from college basketball to a $200,000 bracket contest, BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every Cinderella story to every hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. Golden. So pick 20 picks go by, pick 21's there, and Golden's still available. And leading up to the draft, which is what they're doing now, they're building their big board. They're building their vertical board, their horizontal board, their wide receiver ranks, their ranks overall, their top 21. And I could write a story where Golden is their 9th or 10th favorite player in this entire draft for their particular team and their needs. By the way, he blocks too. He's an aggressive, tough guy too, which is rare in this class. And they're just looking at him like, man, would love to go D-tackle in first round, just like we've been talking about. And trust me, that's my path. But this guy is our highest graded dude, and he's still there. And maybe the top 3 D-tackles that we talk about all the time, Nolan, Harmon, Grant, are all gone. Or maybe they're all still there and the D-tackle market's hardly been touched at all. It's only Graham off the board. You're looking at him like, there's still 12 defensive tackles I like. If I take Golden here, wow. So say you do. Have to take him. He's our highest graded dude. Now, I'm assuming Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is mostly, like most quarterbacks, operated out of an 11 personnel heavy group. 3 receivers on the field. What a trio that would be. I mean, obviously. Arthur Smith, I'm sure, could adjust some. There would have to be a give and take there. But they've had these conversations leading up to the draft. This isn't something that they would just be like, when their 15 minutes are on the clock, like, oh, do you think we can change our offense for them? No, you've already had these things in place. Now, I don't think Pickens is going to get traded. But in this scenario, if you were to take Golden at 21 and you had a team lined up to give you, say, a mid-second round pick for Pickens, you could totally understand it because you'd gain a couple, the Pickens Golden thing, your contract dilemma looming with Pickens goes away. You get a more well-rounded receiver room and you get a little younger. You buy a couple years. And if I can have a second round pick and the D tackles are still really deep, I can still go day 2 D tackle. I can still get 2 D tackles on day 2, which I would love. And I say this because prototypical X receivers, Pickens, Metcalf, the big on the line of scrimmage man beaters, are really a shortage right now in the league. There's a lot of good receivers, tons of great receivers in the league. The league is flush with wideouts, but this class stinks, is bad for wide receivers. The free agency class stinks, and there are a lot of teams that were in the same shoes as the Steelers a year ago that are really desperate for a wideout, especially a true X on the line receiver, which is exactly what Metcalf and Pickens are. And that's why the Steelers made the Metcalf deal, because there's a shortage of those guys and you can't get them. Again, I don't think Pickens is definitely a trade candidate. But if you made this pick and you knew you could get pretty good return for Pickens, I would understand it. I would also understand that if he's just too good to pass up, and that happens, and day 1 goes by, Thursday night's in the books, Pickens is a Steeler, Golden's a Steeler. You don't have a second round pick. But let's say the Tennessee Titans, who just used the first overall pick on Cam Ward, retire to their beds on Thursday night and have the second pick on day 2, right about where Joey Porter was picked, and say, we really don't have anyone that great for our young quarterback to throw to. Do you want the 34th pick in the draft for George Pickens and a 5? And meanwhile, Walter Nolan's still on the board? I could write that story. So I get real set in my ways that if they don't go it's a build your own adventure. It's a choose your own adventure book. And if the first choice of my adventure isn't D-tackle, boy, I'd be swimming upstream the rest of my draft. But sometimes you just take an awesome player and an awesome prospect that they apparently adore, and you make it work from there. And you can move some other picks around. Don't forget the depth of the D tackles here. You know, you could still take 2 more really high, and you don't end up taking a quarterback, and you maybe don't go running back till 5th round, or you call J.K. Dobbins, but you're trotting out Golden, Pickens, and DK frickin' Metcalf with Aaron Rodgers throwing the football. I mean, I tweeted this the other day. Steelers ended up with the 27th ranked passing offense last year. Well, if they sign Rodgers, I'll bet everything I own is better than that. If you pair Rodgers with Metcalf, Pickens, and Golden, I'll bet anything you want that it's way better than that. And this will be a little bit of a nerdy thing for you. But if you look at my Twitter timeline, it's on there. Mike Sando did the homework. Ben Johnson, the Bears' new head coach, is where this came from. But it's something I've known for a while. And I talk EPA with you guys a lot. And it's widely known basically through all of our lifetimes. The turnover differential is the most telling number in the NFL in terms of wins and losses. And that hasn't changed. But what is right there next to turnover differential in terms of determining wins and losses is winning that game's passing EPA, which in short just means you're better in the passing game on run and defense than your opponent. Over the last 5-10 years in today's modern NFL, that correlates a very, very high percentage to winning that football game. More so than running, more so than sacks, more so than time possession, wherever else you want to go. Turnover differential, passing EPA differential. Passing EPA would be pretty ridiculous with those guys. And I only say this because I just like this player. I'm not doing this with Tet McMillan. I'm not doing this with Ibuka. I'm not doing it with Burden. This is the one exception where you could say, I kind of get it. And boy, you'd be hard to play against. And you'd have a lot of leverage with Pickens, too. All right, there you have it, everyone. Fun one. Talk to you soon.